Mr. Ware here with another edition of A Moment of Science, and last night I was outside checking on my tangerine trees like I usually do, and I happened to notice something pretty interesting on one of my branches. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Here's what I found on my tangerine tree. This is a giant swallowtail butterfly caterpillar. It is the larval stage of the giant swallowtail butterfly. Take a look on the side of your screen. That's what it's going to look like once it's full grown. Now, I want to point out a couple of very interesting things about this caterpillar. First of all, take a look at his coloring, very unique. On the side of your screen is what the branch looks like that I found him on. Did you notice anything? Well, they happen to look an awful lot alike. So let's talk about the adaptations that this caterpillar has to survive. Number one, it is a great example of camouflage. Its outer coloring is very similar to the branch that it lives on. So if a bird flies by looking for an easy meal, this guy is camouflaged. Secondly, do you notice how it almost looks like this caterpillar has a head and a face? Well, that's another adaptation that this caterpillar has. He is disguising himself to look kind of like a snake, so that if a creature does discover him and they do try and eat him, he's going to start to look like a snake and scare them. Now let's see if we can get yet another example of an adaptation that this caterpillar has. Do you see that? He's sticking out these things out of his face, and it almost looks like the tongue of a snake. So this caterpillar, there they go. This caterpillar has another adaptation to look like a snake. One other thing that you can't tell by the camera is that there's a terrible smell right now. This caterpillar is releasing a smell to try and get me to leave him alone.
Let's talk about some of the adaptations this caterpillar has to survive. We're going to leave our friend alone so he can continue on with his life cycle. So we're going to take a look at some pictures on the screen. Take a look at the side of the screen right now. You can see the caterpillar is actually on the branch, and one of its first lines of defense is camouflage. It looks like the branch that it's on. Another way this caterpillar has adapted to survive is it looks like a snake, which is a really cool adaptation. So if an animal or a person does find this caterpillar, they're going to think twice about touching it because it looks like it could hurt you, but it can't. It's actually a very harmless creature. It has a head that kind of looks like a snake. It looks like it has eyes and a mouth, which it doesn't, not like a snake. And it has those things that stick out. Do you see those red things coming out? That is so it looks kind of like the tongue of a snake, which is pretty cool. And the other thing that's hard to tell on camera that you can't tell but I can is that when those red things come out, it releases a pretty pungent odor and it doesn't smell very pleasant. So if I was an animal who was looking to eat the caterpillar, which I'm not really that hungry, it has several lines of defense to make sure I don't do that. First, I may not be able to find it because it's camouflage. Second, when I do, I'm going to think twice about touching it because it looks like a snake. And if I do get close enough to make it angry, it's going to smell really bad, which is going to make me think twice about eating it. These are all great examples of physical and behavioral adaptations. This caterpillar has developed ways to meet a need, to not become food for other creatures. It has physical adaptations, its camouflage, the shape of its head, and it also has behavioral adaptations, the way it acts by sticking the red things out of its face to make it look like a snake.
Another interesting adaptation that this caterpillar has is while it is young, it actually looks like bird droppings. So this caterpillar can hide in plain sight. It looks like something a bird left behind on top of a leaf. Even inside of its chrysalis, it's still camouflaged. Take a look here. It looks just like the branch that it's living on.